I would like to talk to you about charging what you're worth. Now, I by no means am a high ticket offer expert, but I've recently been going that route myself for several factors why I wanted to go into learning how to do high ticket offers very well. And one of the reasons is I was recently in a space where I was typically working 12-hour plus days. I was starting to feel very burnt out. It's kind of ironic because my whole thing is I help overwhelmed entrepreneurs, and here I am, an overwhelmed entrepreneur. And even though I was working more than I ever worked when I was in my office job as an employee, uh, I wasn't making as much money as I wanted to. And that was highly frustrating that I felt oversaturated in my time and I still wasn't bringing in the income. So I had to pivot and start on the path of offering packages as opposed to charging an hourly rate. And this has been an ongoing dilemma for me for a while, truth be told. And there have been a couple of instances where things went badly because I wasn't charging more. So um, I just want to throw this out there. Charging more is not bad. It's not like you're you're trying to put one over on somebody. And I think that a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with this because when you're doing what naturally comes to you, you first of all don't feel like you should charge X amount for it um, because it comes easy to you, even though it might be very difficult for other people. And for another thing, imposter syndrome is huge, and that will creep into your mind, and you'll think to yourself, can I really get away with charging this much? And I'm here to tell you that you should be charging what you're worth. You should be charging, you should probably be charging more than what you think you're worth because some people underestimate themselves and their abilities and their knowledge. So I wanted to show you kind of a spectrum of examples based on the low end charging an hourly rate, trying to have a competitive price, and trying to market yourself as a price competitor. And on this end, you have your high ticket offers, um, anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 to $50,000 or whatever, right? Okay, so there's the opposite ends of the spectrum. Charging a low hourly rate and trying to be competitive in your rate and um, offering a premium package at a premium price. Okay, so it's like Walmart and Nordstrom's or something, right? And so on the low end of things, there's a couple of examples where because I was trying to charge competitively and got in over my head and realized, hey, this isn't worth my time, because one example is I tried to come up with a package price for something that I was providing, a service I was providing for a client, instead of going the hourly rate. And this was one of my first attempts at doing so. But I way undercut myself. I was basically trying to compete with, um, VA services from overseas. And you know how uh, you can hire a VA overseas for a heck of a lot cheaper than, minimum wage here in the United States. So that happened. I started providing the service for the client. First of all, the scope of work kept expanding, and I didn't know how to say no. I didn't know how to create boundaries for myself to protect my my time, basically. And so this small paying client soon ended up consuming all of my time, all of my resources. I was not able to fulfill on services for other clients that I had at that ongoing at that same time. So that created a little, well, no, that created a lot of resentment in my mind. I was like, wow, this person is really taking advantage of me. I started feeling very angry that I got myself into this situation and I felt like I couldn't get out of it. So I just kept plodding ahead, and tensions between me and this client became worse and worse. And I fulfilled on my end, but by that time, the relationship between me and this client was completely destroyed. Now, had I charged what I was worth, and had I charged an adequate amount where I would be happy fulfilling the work, I wouldn't have had I wouldn't have been resentful, first of all. And because I could prioritize this service that I was providing, because it was a premium price, then there wouldn't have been any friction between me and this person. So in essence, I feel like if I had charged more, this person and I would have still had a very friendly, amiable, positive relationship. So as it was, I finished the project and we both went our separate ways. And I was unwilling to even talk to her because I was so mad that I felt like I was being taken advantage of. And I realized that it was all my fault because I was the one that proposed that price. So you may think that you're being charitable or generous or giving or whatever positive word that you can think of. You might think that you're being that way when you're undercharging, but in the end, that underlying resentment will be there because you know that you should have charged more. So don't get stuck in the same trap that I went through. So that's the undercharging for your services part of it. Another example is I was basically working for free for this client for some time. And again, I started feeling resentful. I was in a place where I was obligated to provide certain services, give of a certain amount of my time, show up for meetings at like 7 a.m. and stuff like this. And again, because this person wasn't paying me my worth, I wouldn't respond. I wouldn't reply back. This person eventually cut me off because of a lack of communication. And it all stemmed from, why the F am I doing this when I'm not being compensated for my time? So if this is one of those things that, even, Alex Hermosi says, oh, if you're just starting out, go out there and just, provide a service for free to a bunch of people and then get a testimonial back from them. If you're in a place where you can afford to give freely of your time, if you have a nice cushion in your bank account, or you're working a full-time job and this is a side hustle that you're building, yeah, go ahead, provide those free services. But I have found that when I do that, when I provide a free service, I don't provide VIP service. I don't go to the lengths that I should with this person to provide them with an excellent customer experience, because I have to prioritize paying clients over not paying clients. And furthermore, sometimes I have to prioritize the higher paying client over somebody who might have had a grandfathered price that I'm continuing to honor because of that same reason, because it's more to my bottom line. I'm going to prioritize that. I'm going to give it more of my time, more of my effort. Um, so it's this double-edged sword. Because you're charging less, you basically do a crappier job. At least I do. And it's a subconscious thing. I'm not trying to actively provide crappy service. It's just that the things that pay the bills are going to be prioritized, especially when you're strapped for cash and you're trying to pay your bills, right? Okay. So it's just natural phenomenon. Okay. It can't be helped. Um, at least for me. Maybe some people are very disciplined and they're like, no matter what, I'm going to do this. In fact, I did do that for somebody. I did somebody's entire uh, summit campaign free of charge. And my husband was irate with me at that time because I would be working on his stuff at like midnight, and I was avoiding my family because I was so overworked at this point in time. And I was neglecting my paying clients while I was trying to do this because at the time it was rush, rush, rush. You got to get this done at a certain deadline. So the deadline kind of trumped all the other um, elements that would normally go into how you would prioritize something, if that makes sense. So, uh, so I was focusing on that so heavily that I actually lost a really good client, a really good paying client, because I didn't have the bandwidth to take on all these projects. So there is that. And in addition to the, charging for the hourly rate thing, once you switch over into providing packages, that is a cost for the package instead of a cost for your hourly rate. Now you can take on things like outsourcing, hiring employees, um, buying extra software to automate some of these things that you might be doing manually. So there's a lot of overhead that you might not be considering when you're thinking about what should I charge for my hourly rate, or or for that matter, what should I charge for my package? You need to take into account all of those possible expenses that you might be encountering in order to fulfill on the service that you're providing. So there's that aspect of it as well. And one thing to consider when you're figuring out how to price your package is what what might the worst case scenario be? Because one of the problems that you're encountering here is if you're saying this is the cost to do such and such, well, if you have a dream client that agrees with every decision that you make, it might be 10 hours of work. But if you have a very picky, demanding client who has a lot of input into the outcome, like micromanaging basically, that 10-hour project may now become a 30-hour project. So based on the worst case scenario, how much of your time might you actually have to invest into this project? So that's another thing to take into consideration, because like I said, if you have one price for this service, then it could take 10 hours, it could take 30 hours. So just base it on the highest amount that it could possibly be. And I know this sounds like it could be a little bit unfair to those dream clients that are super easy peasy to work with, that, you show them one graphic or three graphics and they say, oh, okay, yeah, I love that one. Yeah, let's go with it. Instead of, oh, well, this one's right. This isn't right. I want the colors like this. And I want a gradient here and blah, 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 blah. Right. So depending on how nitpicky they are about the details, it could take a lot longer. So even though you might feel like you're punishing your ideal clients that are easy to work with by pricing it accordingly, or pricing it in this way, this is actually not going to be the case. And here is why. When somebody pays you a premium, and even if you kind of feel internally that what you're providing to them isn't good enough for the amount that they're paying, this will subliminally make you work harder. This will subliminally make you ensure that you are providing excellent customer service. Because if that imposter syndrome is in there going, oh, you charged too much, this person's going to walk away and realize that you charged too much. But if you just, stick it out and say, no, no, this person paid this premium amount. So I'm going to treat this person like a VIP. I'm going to roll out the red carpet and put on the white gloves because you want to make sure you can fulfill on this as promised. And you're going to love working with them because instead of feeling resentful, you're going to feel grateful. You're going to have this beautiful, joyous feeling inside of you when you're working for this client. And that will ensure that you maintain a very good relationship with this client. Now, like I said, I'm not the high-end offer expert, and I'm moving into this direction myself. But what I've heard from experts is people who pay money pay attention. And people who pay a lot of money actually justify the purchase. And in so doing, their interpretation, their perception, their how they are experiencing you, that is exponentially amplified in a positive manner when they pay a premium because they're all in. When they are making this huge investment and this huge sacrifice in order to be in your program, that means that they are committed just because of the cost. So in essence, you charging more literally makes the service, package, offer, program, whatever you're providing, better. It's better in their minds because of their perception of it. And it's better in your mind because A, they're a dream client. You're getting the dream price. You're happy. And when you're happy, you're grateful. And when you're grateful, you're actually going and doing the work joyfully instead of sitting there in resentment and drudgery. So there is also the sunk cost fallacy. And basically, if somebody invests a lot of money into something, they're less likely to want to abandon it. They're like, I've got to make this work because I've invested all of my savings into this program. I have to make this work. So you've got their full commitment because you don't have to take on so many clients to meet your bills, to pay your bills every month. You're not scrambling. You're not overextending yourself. You're not burnt out, overwhelmed, and you can do a better job because you have that peace of mind that the money is there. All I have to do is fulfill now. So there's so many different levels here as to why you really do need to charge more money. All of the signs are pointing to charge more money. So as I am going through this evolution myself, I'm sure I'll update you with some more videos as I learn more, as I figure more stuff out. But for now, I just wanted to give that overview and of that spectrum. And for that matter, one thing I was highly amused about is when people jump into these high ticket programs, like, $15,000, $25,000, right? They become raving fans and they become your advocate. And one of the things that I find is highly amusing is when somebody pays that much for a program and then they seem completely shocked, amazed, and surprised that the host of this program, the provider of this service, actually fulfills on what they promised. Like, why is that such a huge deal? That just seems so funny to me that people are like, this person is so full of integrity and they really do care about me and they spent time working with me personally one-on-one just so I could figure out my problem and blah 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 and go through this and find a solution together. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, if you paid me $25,000, I would probably be over at your doorstep washing your windows and I would be doing everything for you if I got $25,000 from a client. You can snap a finger, I'd be like, what do you need? It's so funny that people are like, wow, they're really, really nice people and they actually, care about me. Like, why should that be a surprise? That should be a status quo. Status quo is if you pay $25,000 for something, it's actually going to be good. And people are like shocked and amazed that it's good when they actually jump into the program, right? So, I just found that highly amusing. Uh, yeah. And it's easy to fulfill on what you promised, and it's easy to provide good customer service when you're charging that much. And again, it's because instead of spending all of your free time going out there and trying to hustle and grind and get more clients because you're still not making enough money, you can relax, calm down, prioritize this person, focus on their needs, make sure that they're progressing in their program that they're in. So they go hand in hand. Charge more, you can provide better service. So I hope this helps. I hope this helps you work through your own mindset around money, around charging a premium, and around high ticket offers. So thank you so much for watching and have a great day.